Good evening, this is Stacy and English News Edition, and you're watching with me, Ninghui Kim Khong Sai. First, the headlines. 10 Kuki MLAs take Union Territory demand to Delhi. 25th Hornbill Festival comes to a spectacular end. News in detail. In a renewed push for a separate administrations or Union Territory (UT) for Kukis in Manipur, 10 Kuki MLAs, including 7 BJP legislators, staged a dharna in Delhi on Tuesday. The protest, held at Jantar Mantar, was followed by a memorandum address to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, urging his intervention to end the ongoing violence in the northeastern state. The Kuki MLAs, in a joint statement, reiterated that the creation of a separate UT with a legislature is the only viable solution to the ethnic conflict in Manipur. They also strongly criticized the delay in political talks with key tribal groups such as the United People's Front (UPF) and Kuki National Organizations (KNO), condemning proposals to end the suspensions of operations agreement with select armed groups. The SOO agreement, signed in 2008 between the UPF, KNO, and the government, was intended to address political issues and promote peace. However, the Kuki MLAs argued that halting the agreement goes against its very purpose, warning that such actions could deepen existing divisions. Since ethnic violence erupted in Manipur on May 3, 2023, Kukis, though tribal organizations, along with the 10 Kuki MLAs, have boycotted Manipur's assembly sessions, demanding a separate administrations for the tribal population. Both the center and the state government have repeatedly rejected this calls for a separate union territory. In their memorandum, the Kuki MLAs also highlighted the long-standing neglect of the hill districts by the Meitei majority state government, particularly in development matters. They expressed concern that the situations have worsened during the ongoing conflict, pointing out that affected hill districts were excluded from receiving central financial assistance under the PM Divine scheme for healthcare projects. The 10 Kuki MLAs urged the central government to implement interim mechanisms and budgetary provisions to support development in tribal-dominated districts until a final political solution is reached. These protests followed a similar demonstrations by the India bloc leaders from Manipur the day before, who was also called for the Prime Minister's intervention to resolve the 19-month-long ethnic strife. Opposition leaders including Congress Jairam Ramesh, Gaurav Gogoi, and CPI's D. Raja participated in the protest, accusing both the center and state government of failing to address the crisis. The autopsy report of 10 Kukis, though young men who were killed on November 11th in an alleged encounter with the CRPF in the Zirebom districts of Manipur, raises serious questions on the nature of the incident. According to a report in the Times of India, the post-mortem conducted by the Silchar Medical College and Hospital in Assam says that most of them died of bullet wounds, which were predominantly from the back. The implications of these are obvious, though there has been little comment from the authorities. Sadly, the media too seems to be playing down what could possibly be a very serious case of extrajudicial killings, which have added fuel to the already raging fire in Manipur. The young men were reportedly killed near the Borobekra police station. The police claimed that the militants dressed in camouflage uniforms and armed with sophisticated weapons including automatic guns and rocket-propelled grenades had attacked the police stations and adjacent CRPF camp, in which one CRPF constable was injured. Now, according to autopsy report, the bodies have multiple bullet wounds, but most of them from behind, which would hardly be the case had they been the attackers. The unequal casualty count of the alleged militants and the police is also suggestive of fake encounter. The Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum ITLF, a Kuki Zou organization, has said that those killed were village volunteers and not militants, and that they had been out on a patrol to protect fellow tribals when the incident occurred. On December 5, the men were buried at the Mother Cemetery in Second Village after the bodies, some mutilated and missing an eye, were flown back from Silchar. The ITLF has demanded a judicial probe into the killing of these young men, and in a letter to the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, they say that the post-mortem reports of the deceased clearly show that the men were shot from the back, proving that they were not engaged in a gunfight with the security forces when they were gunned down. The letter goes on to say that they could have been ambushed or murdered after capture. The NIA is already probing the incidents which have enraged the tribal communities in the state. They have registered 3 cases in connection with the Manipur violence after the Ministry of Home Affairs handed over the investigations to the agency, but none of them seem to directly deal with the specific incidents of the death of 10 Kuki Zou tribals. What the NIA is reportedly doing is investigating the alleged attack on the CRPF at Zakurador Karong and Borobakra police stations by the armed militants. A tragic outcome of this incident was the death of 3 children and 3 women belonging to Meitei community. Meitei groups alleged that they were kidnapped and murdered by the Kukis in retaliation for the death of Kukis who had allegedly attacked by the police. The root of this current phase of violence allegedly began when a woman from the Mar community, which is predominant in the Ziribam area, was set on fire at her home at Ziron on November 7. This resulted in the train of violence involving the deaths of 10 tribal youth as well as 3 women and 3 children belonging to Meitei community. The Kom Naga Union Manipur KONUM has issued a stern warning to Kom Tribe Council KTC and Kom Union Manipur KUM to cease any attempts at distorting or manipulating historical facts regarding the Kom Tribe's affiliations with the Naga community. In a press statement on Tuesday, KONUM stated that the Kom Tribe's connection to Naga family dates back to 3080 and is a foundational aspect of the community's heritage. KONUM said its long-standing participations in key Naga organizations, including the Chandil Naga People's Organization and the United Naga Council. It underscored that the UNC has officially recognized the Kom Tribe's affiliations with the Naga community, leaving no room for dispute. We are KTC and KUM to refrain from instigating divisive politics within the Kom community. Such actions will only serve to drive a wedge between our people and undermine the progress we have made. Any sparks that may fly will be the sole responsibility of those who fan the flames. Caution KONUM. In the same statement, KONUM strongly condemned the recent attack on Kom villagers of Sagang area by suspected Kuki militants from the Kuki Liberations Army at Dampi village on December 4, 2024. Describing the assault as heinous crime, the organization demanded justice for the victims and called for immediate actions from the union government and state government against the perpetrators, and also demanded to safeguard minority Kom tribe villagers in maintaining peace and harmony. This brutal violence has no place in our society. We stand with the victims and their families and our authorities to ensure accountability. The organizations then called for unity among the Kom people, urging them to focus on preserving their shared historical legacy and fostering harmony within the community. KONUM reaffirmed its commitment to counter divisive rhetoric and work towards the betterment of its people. Our mission is to uphold our heritage while promoting peace, solidarity, and progress for all members of our community, the statement concluded. The Aimul Tribe Union Manipur ATUM denounced RT Akhel's recent press statement on the monolith stone unveiling in Chandil and vowed to take appropriate action against him for his misadventures. A press statement issued by the Department of Information and Publicity of the Aimul Tribe Union strongly condemned the unauthorized and inappropriate use of the ATUM letterhead, which was modified with a Kuki land flag but symbol, incorrect pin code and logo. We take this matter seriously and will take strict actions against those responsible, the union word. Setting the record straight, the Aimul Tribe Union Manipur stated that RT Akhel was a self-styled individual working under Kuki MP as their president and had no relations to Aimul community nor represented the whole Aimul tribe. He is alone and affiliates himself to Kuki tribe, it declared. It also added that the Aimul community had previously boycotted him. The union stated that such press statements only spread harmful ideologies, and the union as a responsible organization could not legitimize unethical acts, including using the tribe's name for personal benefits. It warned that the union would no longer tolerate the individual's immature behavior and actions that harm their reputations and their community. We will take all necessary steps to protect our Aimul Naga tribe's identity and interests, it added. The Aimul Tribe Union Manipur also appealed to every right-thinking citizen not to entertain any fake statement not verified by the concerned organization. We will take appropriate actions against him and not entertain any appeal from his family or organizations during the action. He should bear full responsibility. We will not be responsible for any of his misadventures, the statement read. It added, we hope this statement clarifies misconceptions and provides a more accurate understanding. The 25th edition of the Hornbill Festival came to a spectacular end with a grand closing ceremony held at the main arena in Kisama in Kohima this evening. The event marked the successful conclusions of 10-day-long celebrations of Nagaland's rich culture and heritage. Festival host and Minister of Tourism and Higher Education, Temzen Im Na Along, in his closing speech thanked the Chief Minister of Nagaland, Nephew Rio, under whose visionary leadership the Nagas were able to come together in unity, spirituality, and enthusiasm for the festival. He emphasized that the festival went beyond cultural and tribal ties and extended to humanity. The 25th edition of the Hornbill Festival came to a spectacular end with a grand closing ceremony held at the main arena in Kisama in Kohima this evening. The event marked the successful conclusions of 10-day-long celebrations of Nagaland's rich culture and heritage. Festival host and Minister of Tourism and Higher Education, Temzen Im Na Along, in his closing speech thanked the Chief Minister of Nagaland, Nephew Rio, under whose visionary leadership the Nagas were able to come together in unity, spirituality, and enthusiasm for the festival. He emphasized that the festival went beyond cultural and tribal ties and extended to humanity. The festival host thanked the churches and all the people of Nagaland for bringing positivity and taking ownership to build such an empowering brand. Along thanking the country partners and state partners along with the ambassadors and bureaucrats for their collaboration. He appreciated the media fraternity for showing the festival to the world. Minister Temzen along with Miss Nagaland 2024 Anon Konyak and the pageant's first and second runners-up Nikali Keshont and Kalulu Dohu lit the ceremonial bonfire symbolizing the end of this year's festival. The closing program also featured a mesmerizing cultural presentations and captivating musical performances, leaving the audience with lasting memories of the festival's unique blend of traditions, music, and dance. The 25th Hornbill Festival has once again proven to be a vibrant celebration of Naga culture, drawing visitors from across the world to witness the beauty and unity of Nagaland. The Union Ministry of Home Affairs (MHA) has approved setting up two designated special NIA courts. One is in Imphal East and Imphal West. These are to conduct trials on 8 cases registered so far by the Anti-Terror Federal Probe Agency relating to arson and loot in ethnic violence in Manipur under provisions of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the official said on Tuesday. The troubled state has been witnessing ethnic clashes since first week of May 2023. The cases, which are now being investigated by the NIA, were originally registered and probed by Manipur police. Quoting the order issued by the Counter-Terrorism Wing in the MSA, a senior official said, in exercise of the powers conferred under Section 11 of the National Investigations Agency Act 2008, the central government, in consultations with the Chief Justice of the High Court of Manipur, hereby designates the Court of Districts and Session Judge in Imphal East and the Court of District and Session Judge in Imphal West as NIA Special Court 1 and NIA Special Court 2 respectively in Manipur for the trial of the scheduled offences investigated by the NIA, National Investigations Agency. It is to be noted that since there was no designated NIA court in the state, the Supreme Court had recently allowed the Anti-Terror Probe Agency request to transfer 8 criminal cases from Imphal Court to Assam. Of late, the NIA took over 3 more cases and re-registered them under provisions of the UAP following a recent fresh wave of violence. The first case relates to November 11 violence, leaving several houses gutted in flames and 2 civilians killed. Later, unknown militants abducted and murdered 6 persons, including 3 women and 3 children. The second case also pertains to November 11 attack on a CRPF post at Zakurador Karong and Borobrakra police stations, Ziribam, by militants. The third case relates to murder of a woman in Ziribam by militants on November 7th. The Supreme Court on Wednesday relaxed bail conditions of Aam Aadmi Party AAP leader Manish Sisodia, which required him to report to investigating officer twice a week in the 2 cases brought against him by the Enforcement Directorate and the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) in the Delhi excise policy case. A bench of Justices Bhushan R. Gavai and K.V. Viswanathan passed the order by allowing an application moved by Sisodia seeking relaxations of these bail conditions imposed by the top court in its order granting him bail on August 9. However, the court directed him to regularly attend the trial. The order said the condition requires petitioner to report to investigating officer 10 on Mondays and Thursday. We do not find that the said condition is necessary, and the said condition is deleted. It is made clear that the petitioner shall regularly attend the trial. The AAP leader was represented by senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi and advocate Vivek Zayan. The senior lawyer had argued that since getting bail on August 9th, he has appeared 60 times before the 10th and has attended the trial on all days, showing full compliance with the order passed by the top court. The top court order granting bail to Sisodia has said the appellant is directed to be released on bail in connection with ED case and FIR registered against the appellant by the CBI on furnishing bail bonds for a sum of rupees 10 lakh with 2 sureties of the like amount. The Center on Tuesday, December 10, opposed a plea in the Supreme Court that seeks nationwide guidelines to restrict internet shutdowns. In its opposition to the plea, the union government argued that such an advanced ruling would be untenable and each instance of internet suspension has to be challenged separately, reported Hindustan Times. A bench of Justices Vikram Nath and P.B. Varali took up the petitions filed by the Software Freedom Law Center SFLC in 2022. The petitions highlight the economic, social, and legal ramifications of these shutdowns and seeks clear guidelines to curb their arbitrary use. Advocate Kanu Agrawal, who represented the center, cited the Supreme Court 2020 Anuradha Basim versus Unions of India judgment to say that no sweeping directions could be issued for grievances against shutdown. We have written to chief secretaries, and the union also takes care of it. But this plea wants an advance ruling which cannot be done, said Agrawala, saying that the center has written to all states and union territories to abide by the 2020 judgment. Representing the SFLC, Advocate Vrinda Grover said that several states have resorted to internet shutdowns during examinations such as high school tests or Patwari recruitment exams to prevent cheating. However, Grover said that these measures are disproportionate, resulting in widespread economic loss and infringing on citizens' fundamental rights. Arvind Kejriwal has announced that AAP will be fighting the upcoming Delhi elections 2025 on its own strength, rejecting all possibilities around his party's talk with Congress for a pre-poll alliance. In a tweet on social media, Arvind Kejriwal said that there is no possibility of an alliance with the Congress. He said, Aam Aadmi Party will be fighting these elections on its own strength in Delhi. There is no possibility of any alliance with Congress. Arvind said that in the clarifications regarding a purported pact with the Congress for Delhi elections 2025 came after news agency ANI quoted some sources stating that the two parties were in the final stages of seat-sharing talks in Delhi. The source stated that Congress was holding talks on contesting 15 seats in Delhi elections. The ANI sources said Congress and AAP are in the final stage of agreement for an alliance in the Delhi elections. 15 seats for Congress, 1 to 2 to other India Alliance members, and the rest for AAP. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party has released its second list of 20 candidates for the upcoming Delhi Assembly polls. In the new candidate list, the AAP dropped 16 sitting MLAs and moved 2 others, including former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. In the Delhi elections 2025, Manish Sisodia will contest from Jangpura, while Avat Osha, an educator and recent AAP entrant, has been fielded from Patparanganj seat. Politics for me is a means to education, honesty, and public welfare. I am ready to replicate the work done in Patparanganj in Jangpura, Manish Sisodia said after the candidate list announcement. The leader of opposition LOP in Lok Sabha and Congress MP Rahul Gandhi on Wednesday met Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and requested him to expunge the derogatory comments against him made by BJP MPs. I urged the Speaker to expunge the derogatory comments against me. The Speaker said he would examine the matter. They, BJP, make unreasonable accusations, but we have decided to let the host run irrespective of the kind of provocations they resort to, Gandhi told reporters in Parliament complex. He expressed the desire to let Parliament have a debate on the constitutions as scheduled for December 13. Whatever provocations they do, we will allow them, but we will try and run the House. We would want that somehow the House functions. We want there to be a debate and discussions. We want that there should be a debate on the constitutions on December 13, Gandhi told reporters outside Parliament. The Congress MP's response came amid an ongoing impasse in Parliament, where the government and the opposition exchanged sharp accusations with regard to billionaires George Soros and Gautam Adani. Meanwhile, the Rajya Sabha has been adjourned for the day amid a face-off between the BJP-led central government and the opposition over the no-confidence motions against Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar. India's opposition has raised concerns about potential territorial concessions under the country's recent border agreement with China, increasing political scrutiny of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government as it works to ease tensions with Beijing. The controversy erupted after Foreign Minister S. Jaisankar's parliamentary statement on December 4 outlining the disengagement of troops from the border following the deadly 2020 Himalayan border clash. On Sunday, Jairam Ramesh, a senior leader of the main opposition Congress party, slammed the agreement in parliament as going against India's national interest. We want to go back to the status quo of April 2020. Thereafter, we will be looking at disengagement, de-escalations, and normal management of the LAC, line of actual control, referring to India-China border. Ramesh was quoted as saying by the Hindu newspaper, hinting that India may have seceded land in the deal. However, analysis says opposition pressure is unlikely to derail the thawing of relations between the two Asian giants, who have been pulling back troops since late October after years of being locked virtually eyeball to eyeball at two positions on the border. I don't really think that any charges, until substantially proven, will have any impact whatsoever on this government, said Yaswant Deshmukh, an independent political commentator. If the government has decided to go ahead with talks with China, they will go ahead. And at this point of time, the opposition is not really in a position to accuse this government of any wrongdoing. Modi's ruling BJP strengthened its mandate by an unexpected victory in state elections in the politically strategic state of Maharashtra last month, he said. The victory followed another surprising win in the northern state of Haryana in October. The losers have weakened the Congress party, which was gaining momentum after scoring crucial victories in the BJP's heartland Hindi-speaking provinces, resulting in the BJP losing its outright majority in the summer parliamentary elections. After the huge loss in Maharashtra, I think the opposition, particularly the Congress, will need a lot of steam together in order to bring any narrative against the BJP and the government, Deshmukh said. An international criminal court arrest warrant for Myanmar's military boss, Min Aung Hlaing, is more symbolic than anything else, experts said. Karim Khan, the chief prosecutor of the ICC, has requested the arrest warrant, citing grounds that the Min Aung Hlaing committed crimes against humanity against the Muslim Rohingya ethnic group, which led to thousands being killed, persecuted, and forced to flee the country. After a 5-year investigation, the final decision on the arrest warrant is yet to be released by the ICC. But Myanmar is not an ICC signatory, meaning an imminent arrest is next to impossible. David Scott, an independent Myanmar analyst, says that the ICC request for a warrant is mostly symbolic. I think that the ICC request for an arrest warrant is an important but really mostly symbolic move. It may provide a boost of encouragement to Rohingya people and to supporters of international justice, but it won't likely have any measurable impact on the conflict raging throughout Myanmar. It has to be remembered that the arrest request only applies to violence against Rohingya and how it relates to Bangladesh, which is an ICC member. According to Medicines Sans Frontières, MSF, at least 6,700 Rohingya were killed in the space of 1 month between August and September 2017. The deaths included over 700 Rohingya children. Min Aung Hlaing was the commander-in-chief of Myanmar Army at the time, which has led to ICC's prosecutors' request for the arrest. The Myanmar military crackdown on Rohingya first began in 2016, which caused an international outcry. It even Aung San Suu Kyi, the notable former leader of Myanmar's Democracy Party, heavily criticized for refusing to take actions on her military generals. The crackdown against the Rohingya during this period has contributed to what rights groups and critics call the Rohingya genocide, which is an ongoing persecution. Report says As many as 43,000 Rohingya have been killed overall in the past 7 years. The Myanmar military has denied genocide, saying it has defended the country from attacks by Rohingya militants. What has baffled some experts is that Min Aung Hlaing's potential ICC arrest warrant has only been requested for his Rohingya crimes and not for the nearly 4-year civil conflict sparked by the coup. Min Aung Hlaing led a military coup in February 2011, ousting the democratically elected government and detaining leaders Aung San Suu Kyi and Myanmar President Win Myint. The military-backed political parties have been defeated heavily in the November 2020 elections, in which they claim unsubstantiated electoral fraud, acting as a pretext for the coup. It has since sparked a nationwide armed resistance against the junta, consisting of People Defense Forces, a state government, and armed ethnic groups. The ICC request for an area warrant does not relate to nearly 4 years of massive war crimes and crimes against humanity by Min Aung Hlaing throughout Myanmar, Matheson said. So millions of people inside Myanmar can take some succor from Min Aung Hlaing's discomfort over this arrest request, but it unfortunately won't stop the Myanmar military atrocity machine, Matheson added. Zachary Abuza, a professor at National War College in Washington, who focuses on Southeast Asia politics, says the violence across the country since the coup likely contributed to the decision. The arrest warrant is way overdue, given the 2019 case at The Hague, where so much evidence of ethnic cleansing was presented by prosecutors. The junta's continued daily attacks on civilian populations across the country probably contributed to ICC decision. Abuza says the most important part of the possible warrant is the diplomatic impact. China rejected the arrest warrant as an overreach and a violation of Myanmar's internal affairs, just as China itself continues to interfere in Myanmar's internal affairs. ASEAN states have said very little. While few states were ever going to invite Min Aung Hlaing to start with, this will definitely limit his travel options, he added. Aung Hlaing, a political analyst with Myanmar's Institute for Strategy and Policy, says that the potential arrest warrant is the label that will hold back Min Aung Hlaing and his own ambitions. The State Administrative Council has bluntly rejected the accusations, but the ICC sticks the label of criminal offenses to Min Aung Hlaing. It will be very difficult for his ambitions to become a future president. There are questions to whether the ICC arrest warrant would boost the morale of the Myanmar resistance fighting to dispose of the military. The junta has suffered severe losses in the past 14 months, as resistance forces have come together in new alliance, occupying significant parts of the country and pushing the Tatmadaw back on numerous fronts. More than half the country is now not under army control. It's hard to say. As far as I have learned, the arrest warrant has little impact on Myanmar military leadership and its unit. But surely, the opposition will politicize it, Aung Hlaing added. The arrest warrant announcement from the ICC is just more bad news for a junta leader facing military setbacks in most parts of the country. Latest reports suggest that one of the most powerful ethnic minority armed groups battling Myanmar's army has taken control of the entire 271-kilometer-long border with Bangladesh. If that proves correct, the victory gives the rebel Arakan army control of the entire northern half of Kachin state, once home to many of Rohingya forced to flee by the Tatmadaw crackdown in 2017. However, the rebel group has been accused of its own human rights violations, particularly involving its capture of the town Buttingdong earlier this year, when it reportedly forced a group of up to 2 lakh local residents, mostly Rohingyas, to flee before burning down most of the township. The increasing threat from armed groups have forced the Myanmar military to bring in new measures, including conscriptions, to boost army personnel numbers. The law means Males aged 18 to 35 and women aged 18 to 27 are now all eligible to serve in the military for at least 2 years. In nearly 4 years of conflict, more than 6,000 people have been killed by military, according to Assistance Associations for Political Prisoners Burma. Over 27,000 people have been arrested and millions have been displaced. For Min Aung Hlaing, an ICC arrest warrant may not have changed the military facts on the ground, but for his opponents, is just another small factor contributing to a growing belief that they can prevail in the current conflict. After more than half a century of the Assad family ruling over Syria, a little-known local politician has been named as the country's interim leader and tasked with ushering in a stable government. 3 days on from rebels completing a sweeping offensive forcing Bashar al-Assad, who succeeded his father as ruler, out of Syria and out of office, the country is looking to ensure a peaceful transition of power. Mohammed al-Bashir, a politician who has been governing the rebel-controlled province of Idlib in northwest Syria, from which the offensive began from January this year, has been made possible responsible for the transition. In a brief address on state television on Tuesday, he announced that representatives of the rebels and the Assad government had agreed for him to act as caretaker until 1 March. Today we held a cabinet meeting that included a team from the Salvation government that was working in Idlib and its vicinity, and the government of the Assad regime, he said. The meeting was under the headline of transferring the files and institutions to caretake the government. As he spoke, banks and shops reopened in Syrian capital of Damascus for the first time and since the fall of the Assad regime. Traffic returned to the road and cleaners were out sweeping the streets. Below, the Independent looks at what is known about Mr. al-Bashir. Born in 1983, Syria's new interim leader has little political profile beyond Idlib province, where rebels had maintained an administration during the long years that Syria's civil war front lines were frozen. A Facebook page of the rebel administration says he was trained as an electrical engineer, later receiving a degree from the University of Aleppo in Syria and law in 2007, and has held posts in areas including education. He also has qualifications in the English language and administrative planning and project management. After the Syrian civil war broke out, he became director of the Al-Amal Educational Institute, which provided education to children affected by the war. Mr. al-Bashir held a number of ministerial positions in the Syrian Salvation government, which was the civil administration of a small pocket in Syria's northwestern Idlib province controlled by the HTS. He has served as the Prime Minister of the Syrian Salvation government since January 2024. It remains unclear who will take over from Mr. al-Bashir after March next year. And despite a reasonably stable few days following the end of Assad's rule, there are still concerns that there could be future instability and violence. While pointing to positive early signals, the European Union's new foreign policy chief Kaja Kallas said on Tuesday that there are legitimate concerns about the risks of sectarian violence in Syria and a resurgence of extremism in the country. That's all from us tonight, and we thank you for joining our program.